Yeah. Shout out what you drink, I got money in the bank. Yeah. Shout out what you drink.
The following triple threat match is scheduled for a one fall. On the way to the ring, the WWE Champion from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 230 pounds, Kurt Angle. The opponent from West Newbury, Massachusetts, weighing in at 248 pounds, John Cena. The opponent from San Antonio, Texas, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
I sent you up and down that slide, just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I make them hot. Whenever I'm around, they see me walk and hear me talk. I make them feel like they're on cloud nine. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I'm just a sexy boy. Not your boy toy. It's your heart, girls. Hands off the merchandise.
Telegraphed that one. He saw that one coming. I think it's great that Smackdown signed a pirate for their roster. I think that shows a real commitment to diversity. We don't have any pirates on Raw, JR. Oh, but this is great, JR. He's really letting his opponent have it.
I guess he is. But I'd like to see a little less sizzle and a little more steak, personally.
sure if it's your eyes or your brain that's shot, JR, but that's ridiculous. The Undertaker should quit now. He doesn't seem to be too concerned about his opponent, JR.
Well, he should be. This one's not over yet, and you never know what might happen.
Did you ever think you'd be watching these superstars compete against each other here tonight, JR?
I had a feeling their paths were going to cross sooner or later, and I'm glad I'm here to see it.
Me too. It almost makes it worth having to sit next to you and listen to those corny expressions of yours. What the heck is a government mule anyway?
It's what you get beat like when you're in the middle of a slobber knock. And if you don't have the guts to stick around, you might run like a scalded dog with a case of the liver tape.
All right, enough! I'm getting a translator before I have to come out here with you again. Listen to the crowd. These fans can't stand it when he does this, JR, but I think it's great.
He's sure not going to win over any fans with that move, but I don't think that bothers him too much, quite frankly.
I'm so glad Chris Benoit isn't the World Heavyweight Champion anymore, JR. I couldn't stand it when Raw was being represented by someone like him.
Oh, yeah. What? I don't think his attempt to get this crowd on his side is paying off.
He's not trying to get the crowd on his side, JR. He's letting everyone know that he's going to win this one, whether they like it or not. I think it's pretty obvious which way this one's going to go, JR.
Well, from my perspective, this is still anybody's match.
I'd like to see things from your perspective, JR, but I'd have to get my head out of my rear end first.
And Lord knows it's been up there for so long that that would be no easy feat. These superstars are going to put each other through wrestling hell tonight.
They've already got a pretty good start on that, JR.
They have indeed, King. I don't think there's an ounce of quit between them.
Yeah, and that's where things get dangerous. If you're too proud to admit that it's not your night, you might wind up risking your career for a single match.
But at the same time, King, no one makes it up the ladder without pushing themselves to the very limit. It's a very fine line to walk. He's got that submission hold locked in.
He sure does, JR. He might make his opponent tap out right here.
I think this crowd's giving these superstars a piece of their minds, King.
Are you sure they can afford it, JR?
Oh, I am, King. I'm looking at one of the most awesome forces I've ever seen in a WWE ring. And I think the dead man's going to remind everyone tonight why they call him the Phenom.
Boy, this John Cena is his own biggest fan. How come all of these rappers can't talk about anything except how great they are?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, King. Cena's got...
He's climbing the turnbuckle. What's he up to? There's the reversal.
Oh, man. This is a precarious position to be in.
And that's why getting a forehead ground into your face is just about the most painful thing I can think of. Look at this, JR. You talk about old school, a grinding forearm to the face.
That's a time-tested method of inflicting excruciating pain on your opponent. And it's only gotten more brutal. The RKO! The RKO! We all know what's coming next.
Watch out! He reversed it! I've got to say, JR, I'm really impressed by what we've seen here tonight.
How could you not? The submission is locked in. This could be huge.
Oh my gosh, JR! You can't go on without tapping out to this! Oh man, I've been in this hole before, JR. This brings back some bad memories.
I can understand why, King. I can't even imagine the pain being inflicted here.
He's really cranking up the pressure on that hole, JR.
He sure is. There's no doubt he's looking for the submission right here. The submission has been expertly applied, and now it's just a matter of time. Oh, would you look at this. Talk about arrogant. It's sickening.
Come on, JR. It's not enough just to win a match. You've got to make it clear who's the dominant superstar. Oh, man. That's going to change the tone of this match, JR.
Yeah, and not for the better either. I wish the ref would actually pay attention to what's going on.
Well, from the looks of things, it's not hard to tell how this one's going to go.
What are you talking about, King? I think this is still an extremely competitive match that could go either way.
You know, JR, it's obvious that the only exercise you get is stretching the truth or jumping to conclusions.
Well, judging from the shape I'm in, I don't appear to be doing too much of either, King. You're looking pretty fit, though, I must say.
He's got his opponent locked into submission, JR. This could be it.
It could indeed. He might force his opponent to tap out right here. I'll tell you, King.
Uh-oh. Talk about a hole you don't want to find yourself in.
No kidding. This will rearrange your anatomy. A textbook reversal there.
We could have a pinfall here, JR. Who's going to win this one, JR?
Oh, really? Enlighten us, King.
Wait a second. That submission is locked in, JR, and this is a tough hold to break.
It sure is, King. And even if you break the hold, it takes its toll on you. I call him a monster because he's depraved, King. He has no human feeling in him whatsoever. At least as far as I can tell.
Kurt Angle's too competitive for his own good. He doesn't know when he's met his match. He'd rather risk a serious injury than quit.
Well, maybe that's because Angle has never truly met his match, King. I've never seen a superstar triumph over adversity the way Kurt Angle has.
He's going for the cover, JR.
He almost got the 3 count, but almost doesn't count. And how about going...
Look at that! He's busted wide open! This is great!
I don't know what's so great about watching a human being brutalized like this.
Come on, JR. You know this isn't ballet.
Boy, when you look at these superstars, it really drives home the fact that Raw is the dominant brand of sports entertainment.
Well, there's no doubt about that, JR. There's not a superstar on the Smackdown. I don't know if his opponent has what it takes to kick out.